Okay, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me here tonight on Just Scrappin'. This is my weekly Twitch show, and I hope everyone appreciated and enjoyed last week's discussion with Ori Kagan. If not, certainly go back and check that out. You can check my normal Star Realm stream every Wednesday night, 10 to 12 Eastern Time on Twitch. Tonight, I am thrilled. Our guests are the Yokums. This is MissyJ and OzMethod. And I'm going to take the narrative for this discussion that people have kind of forgotten a little bit about these two. They're so important. They've been such an influence on the community. But they're still very much here. They're still very much active. We're going to talk about that. Some highlights. Nathan has been a long time admin for the Facebook page, nearly as long as the page has existed. Lead tournament organizer. He is a legend. He did lose his fleet. I believe Nathan and Missy might be the first community couple. We'll talk about that. Missy and Nathan, how are you tonight?
Oh, pretty good.
Doing good.
It was actually for a January day in Nebraska. It was pretty nice out there. I think we got up to 50.
Now, normally Nathan does have beautiful red locks. However, the camera has unfortunately put him into a little bit of a black and white hue, but we're going to work with that tonight. Guys, I am super thrilled. Kind of making a joke there that people have forgotten, but you guys are friends to the community going back about as long as anybody. Is there another couple that you guys can point at that might be the first Star Realms couple that we knew was playing together? I mean, is there one that predates you guys?
No, I don't think so. Christina Shaner didn't start until a while after we started playing. What about, I'm going to blank on the name, Sam Bax? When did his significant other start playing?
Well, I'm not sure. I just don't know that I remember Sam or Sarah being around in the community just quite that early. I'm talking chronologically. I mean, I feel like you guys came in at the end of 2014. Just weird little trivia, Missy.
It's been that long.
I checked out one of the recent sort of Mega Hauling classics that Dustin put up. Did you, at the very first tournament that I announced results for, the winner was MissyJ. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
That's awesome.
This goes.
Did you win?
I don't know. Probably not very many.
This was either an 8-player or a 16-player.
I was gonna say there probably weren't very many people. Maybe that's why.
So we are going to set up a game, as we will have Nathan or Missy send me a challenge here. We'll see who we're going to play first.
I think she already did.
Oh, sorry. Let me get in. Before I kind of get too much into Star Realm stuff, guys, tell us about you, where you are, and what you guys do.
Well, I guess Missy and I, we've been married since 2010. Started dating a little bit before that. We both grew up in Beatrice, Nebraska. We didn't know each other in high school, even though we're only a year apart. We worked together at the Walmart Photo Lab in Beatrice after we graduated and before she went to college and I went to the military. And then we lost contact. And a few years later, I was on leave from Iraq over Christmas and stopped into the Walmart in Kearney where she went to college and transferred. And I was like, hey, I'll see if Missy's still working. And it was just a random thing. I happened to be driving through the town. So I was like, I'll stop in. And sure enough, she was working. And that just started the whole long thing then. I expected her to be married was the thing. I made a hilarious joke. She had her back turned. And we worked in the 1-hour photo lab. And so I asked her, hey, how long does your 1-hour photo take? Because we used to get that question all the time. And the answer is it's a 1-hour photo lab. It takes an hour. So she turns around like ready to give this like sassy, crappy answer and then sees me in it. And we chat a little bit. And I was like, you're not married? And she's like, no. And so we went on our first date a couple days later on Christmas, which thrilled my mother. And then, yeah.
She's warmed up to me since then.
Yes. Figured out she was going to stick around, so she might as well get to like her. A few years later, got married. So we've been married since 2010. Missy is I want to say accountant, but there's more special than that.
I do billings, so I'm a billing coordinator technically.
Yeah,
so
Sure.
I make invoices for our clients. I work for an engineering firm here in Lincoln, which has locations all over the country, actually. Olson, very good company to work for. So
yeah. And I'm a software engineer for Fiserv, we do banking software. So any bank that isn't one of the big, like 5 or 6, probably uses our software. The big ones all write their own, and then we do software for anything medium to small size banks. So credit unions, local banks, stuff like that, probably use our software.
Now, Missy, one of the consequences of our format here is it will require us to play somewhat in real time.
Oh, okay.
Kidding aside, no, I appreciate it. So yeah, interesting. So, you guys, how did you find Star Realms?
That's a good question. I had no idea. You went to, was it from going to Hobbytown? And that somebody was like, hey, try this new game?
Wow, yeah, it had to have been.
The first of my Just Scrappin' guests who have absolutely no idea how they came to play the game that we love so much.
So long.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. It had to have been, because about the time I started playing, I was more into Magic. So it must have been, I must have been talking to somebody at the shop, because I haven't gone to that shop in a while, but there are still people there. The last time I was in there, the owner, he was like, hey, you still play Star Realms? So it must have been maybe the owner of the local shop that just happened to bring it up one day.
I think so. I think he was just, said, hey, here's a new card game I've got, and we bought the physical copy, and he brought it home, and we played quite a few games against each other.
Yeah, we played the physical copy for a while, and then learned there was a digital version that was way better. And I don't remember the last time we played a physical game of Star Wars. I mean, we played them when we were visiting you, but before that, it had to have been years.
Well, no, Missy and I played when you visited me.
Yes,
I was thinking at the couch and watched a movie, I think.
So, interestingly enough, you find the app, and then you find your way, I'm assuming, into the Board Game Geek League, because I think that's where I found you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I found that first, and had I done some tournaments in there, or had I just messaged? I don't remember, but it was something like that. And then out of the blue, you messaged me. I don't even remember what you first asked, but you might have just been like, "Hey, check out this Facebook group we have."
I'm positive it was many good games, and just I kind of wanted to congrats. I mean, I followed. There was no leaderboard at the time in the app, of course, but I do believe that you, me, and a few others were in a very small race to 20. The 20 at the time would have been significant because it would have been the blob wheel avatar. That doesn't sound exciting today, but it was the most, that was the highest level you could attain at the time and get an avatar.
Right? And at the time, I was like, oh, 20, that's not very far away. Maybe I'll just hit 20 and then, I'll have finished the game.
So I believe it went you, a player named Rootbreaker, who I've never seen since, and I think I only played a couple times, and then I think I was next. And I did. I saw you, and I reached out, and just thankfully at the time, I was dirtling my way through trying to run tournaments for the first time, because I had never run tournaments really for anything before, but
I figured that out pretty quick.
Nathan came in and saw that I could use some help, and I was very much about acquiring help and delegating.
The one that got me was I think I was looking over old results, or maybe you had just posted the congratulations for an old result, and you were like in our 3-way final between these 3 people, and I was like, well, what? How did you have 3 people in the final? That's not how tournaments work, Matthew.
I believe that was myself, Patrick Compton, and Darwin Castle.
Yes, seems likely. And I was just like, I don't know what you're doing, but I can help. No, I think I was like, here's how you should do this. And you were like, hey, here's a better idea. Why don't you make it better? And I was like, got me.
Nathan wants to help with this tournament. I wonder if he'll take over all of the handling for the page going forward ever.
Yeah, and it wasn't too bad back then because the tournament was 16 people. It did not take very long. I looked up. It was like Sunday Casual. It was like 10 or 11 before we broke 128 people, which is like, well, that's one of those marks because I don't know how much you've ever learned about tournament math even since then. But
Nope, I do get that the denominator there being the 64, yep, makes for
Yep.
a simple math, no buys, anything like that.
yeah, every denominator, well, every multiple that you go up, so 8, 16, 32, 64, 128 adds one round to playoff or to a bracket or to Swiss to how long you have to play. And that was always the thing. And when I played Magic, if you had 31 players, you only had to play like 5 rounds. But if you had 33 players, you had to play 6 rounds, and it was going to be a longer day. And so you always wanted to be underneath that break mark. So that was, but yeah, that 128 mark was pretty sweet. And I looked for a while. There was like a 3-month period where every single tournament was 128 or higher, which is just nuts.
And I think the fact that the tournaments have gotten so elaborate and long and demanding and chat heavy. Did you guys really ever, I mean, we kind of went with that single elimination. Let's go simple. Let's just make this about, let's just get it in, get it done. Play, and your best players will rise to the top. You know, we saw an announcement today of winners on a tournament that has taken, I feel like, 6 or 7 months.
Oh yeah, that was not. I think the longest one I ever did, and it was one of my favorites, was the World Cup, the Star Realms World Cup, because it was where I had qualifiers for each state, and then after that there was a United States qualifier to pick the United States team, and then all of the different countries had their own qualifiers if they had more than 3 people. And so that was essentially a 3-round tournament, or no, it was a 4th round because then we had the all of the countries playing each other. And that one, I think that was my longest one at like 2 months, essentially. And yeah, now I see stuff like the dodgeball tournaments. I was talking to the owner of the game shop, and he was like, do you still run the tournaments? And I was like, no, I've kind of stopped running tournaments. I still run the original Sunday Challenge every now and then. It's definitely not monthly anymore. Just because there's so much else to do and so much more complex things you can do if you want to. You can sign up for exactly the kind of tournament you want to play, and you will find it. I was trying to explain to the shop owner what the dodgeball tournament was all about, and I half know the rules to that, and he wasn't following the half the rules that I knew, and so it was. I mean, these tournaments are insane. Like I remember, we had a single elimination bracket, and then we had one thread in the Facebook event for banter, and it was just like, put any banter you want here, please.
Yeah.
Don't clog up the rest of it with your conversation. None of that.
Now, moving forward past your running of tournaments, Nathan did achieve legend status. So I'm going to toss your card up here right now.
Well,
I know that you can't see it, but on the screen I've got it nice and blown up. Your card, I feel like your art turned out very, very nice.
Very well.
Look at that! I didn't know you had a big. That is awesome.
Huge. Very large.
You can tell exactly. It's almost life size.
That is awesome. I'm also gonna put up a picture of our friend George Smith. George Smith is the tourney runner sort of that Nathan had to create as not to have to friend individually everybody.
But do you remember that he was the second one?
It was. The tourney runner was too obviously not a person, and that's when Facebook was kind of shoring that up. But
runner, we miss you.
Between all of this, you continue to contribute. Now, for each of you, Missy, I know that you are actively playing. I do come across you. It's been a little bit since in the queue, but I know that before you visited recently, we were catching each other in the queue a fair amount.
Good.
Are you playing in any competitive events at all?
Not right now. I did dodgeball like once. The rules are very confusing. So I just did. It wasn't the actual tournament. It was one of their
Practice rounds.
So I might try and do that again, but that's the most I've been doing lately. So.
And Nathan, I know very occasionally I'll either get a challenge or maybe catch you in queue. Are you actively playing at all? Are you playing in anything competitive?
No, I haven't played anything competitive in a while, and I'm kind of on a break right now. I was playing, so I'm retired from ranked play. I didn't announce it because I don't really think that's necessary. But I reached level 69, and I have 69 wins on level 69. So I figured that was the perfect spot to finish that. And then for a while I was playing a bunch of challenges between you and Missy and my friend Jordan and one of his friends who had just started playing. I had rotating games with the four of you, but it got to the point where I was just buying cards and playing cards and not thinking about it, not making decisions. I was just kind of going through the motions, and at that point, it's time to take a break, because why are you playing if you're not really enjoying it? It feels like a job. You're just going through the motions at that point. So I'll get back into it eventually. Missy just sent me a challenge today, so maybe that'll be enough to pop me back in.
I think I'm gonna have to discard a scout because I need to take out at least one of these bases. So it is interesting during these just scrapping conversations. It is harder to pay as much conscious attention to the game. And I just realized that Missy has 2 missions completed.
I do. Yep. I know. I gotta figure out how to get those use ally abilities.
Well, don't tell them.
Oh, they don't know?
No,
they're not the same. Sorry.
No, they're not the same.
Okay.
That's how much Missy's played with missions.
Yeah, I haven't played with missions a ton, so.
That's what there's still. I know a lot of people love missions to death, but they're just not. It's not a balanced gameplay. And I know, is it Dark Lighter that continuously beats the drum for the more complex a game is, the more advantages the smarter player, the better player. But
I'm not exactly sure. I will say in the last year, 8 months, have taken very much a liking to missions. And my percentage has gone up significantly in that context. But listen, they're polarizing. I get it, especially with the alternative win condition aspect to it. I do very much understand that. So what other... tell me first, Star Realms aside, Nathan already mentioned Magic. What other games were you guys into prior to Star Realms? And what other games are you into today? I know we previewed slightly in our pre-show conversation that you guys might have checked out Space Base.
Yes, we did play Space Base with a couple of friends, our quarantine friends. They're like the one couple we've seen in the last 13 months or whatever it's been. So we tried Space Base. Space Base was pretty good. It took one of our friends a little bit to realize that you really have to pay attention on other people's turns.
Oh yeah.
Like the first few turns, we'd roll our dice, and I would point out to him, "Hey, they rolled a 3 and a 4. That means you can do this." And he was like, "Okay." And then he'd be back on his phone until it was his turn. And then I was like, "I'm done. I'm done pointing out to you when you've earned coins." And it took him missing a few until he finally put down the phone and paid attention.
Nice job, Missy. Good game.
Thank you.
Ouch. Ouch.
Whooped him. He only got 1 mission completed.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Yeah, and she's at 61 too. So.
Yeah, that went fast. I'm surprised how fast that went.
As far as before Star Realms, my keyboard is dead. Yeah.
And I'm happy to run the second with Nathan. I'm happy to rematch the second with Missy. I'll let you guys decide how we do that.
Here we go. I've got
it.
What do I have selected here? All right, so yeah, that seems fun. Anyway, before Star Realms, I played Magic a bunch, but Magic got to the point where it was like, I'm spending X dollars every 3 months even to have a chance to compete. And I wasn't a very nice person when I lost. And I just got to the point where I didn't like myself when I was playing Star Realm or Magic. So I kind of, and I forgot, I also went back to school right around that time. And so Star Realms, you could play, you could pick up, you could put down. But, if you wanted to go play Magic, it was 3 hours, once or twice a week. So it just, Star Realms was a nice way to slide in to that Magic fix. And maybe that's why I got so into it. It was a nice replacement that was way more convenient. Other than that, you didn't play a ton of games before Star Realms. We played Gin Rummy a lot against each other, but it started out where Missy was way better at Gin Rummy than I was, and then I learned how she played. And
you got my trick.
Yeah, and was able to get to the point where it wasn't very fun anymore.
Wasn't fun.
So Missy, but
they don't want a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Before Star Realms, it was more sort of traditional card games, things I think of up in Wisconsin, like hearts, spades, euchre, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what euchre is.
You never played euchre. Euchre's fun. I haven't played euchre since high school, so any knowledge of rules are just gone. Euchre and Pinochle we played in high school, and I couldn't play either one even a lick anymore.
Yeah, so I grew up certainly with hearts, euchre. I didn't really ever quite learn the scoring on spades. But yeah, the slightly more exotic ones of sheep's head and pinochle, and my parents were big into bridge. My grandparents were big into bridge. It's funny. I think I still enjoy those types of games, but the games that we have discovered and share since, it makes it really hard to go back to some of those.
Yeah, we don't play. We used to play so much 10-point pitch. I mean, we'd get together with family once a month and play 10-point pitch until late in the night, and we just don't do that anymore.
And I'm not even sure I've ever heard of that one.
Pitch? You never heard of pitch?
No.
Wow. There's different varieties of pitch. Some people play like 3-point pitch that I've heard of, and you can get to the point where it's like I don't even know that game anymore. But I'm surprised you've never heard of pitch. Pitch is pretty big.
No, I'm surprised now to hear you guys talk about it the way you are that I also have not.
Well, I had never played it until I started dating him, and then I had to learn because it was a family requirement practically. Yeah. So if you wanted to come around, then you better learn how to play pitch. So yeah, I had to learn pretty quick.
Now, are you guys competitive with each other? Or is it just kind of friendly and whoever wins, wins? Or Nathan mentioned he didn't like how he lost sometimes in Magic. And listen, I understand. I share that. There were times when I had a very high expectation. And yeah, I could become just a guy I didn't really like that much. And I have friends that also don't like that dynamic sometimes if they can't turn off their competitiveness with their spouse or their kids.
I've learned to turn the competitive down. It's still not up. I'm still always going to play to win. Somebody the other day was like, "You're not going to let me win, are you?" And I was like, that is not in my DNA. If you knew me at all, I'm never going to let you win. Maybe I won't, smash you into the ground, but I'm also never going to let you win. But against each other, we do okay. It doesn't help that I'm better at most games. And so, I mean, come on.
Okay,
right?
Better at most games.
Yes, I'm better at most games. And so it's most of the time when we get frustrated, it's because I'll win and then Missy will be like, "Can you help me?" And I'll be like, just do better plays. That's you just have to.
Didn't you watch what I just did?
Right? That's why I'm the worst teacher. I've tried to teach Missy. Oh, what was the really bad one I tried to teach you? I don't remember what it was.
You did try to teach me Magic.
I tried to teach Missy Magic. That didn't go great.
Didn't go
well, how do I know when to attack? Well, you look at the board, and if it looks advantage for you to attack, then you do it. She's like, that doesn't mean anything. You didn't say anything. You just look at the board. That's all you do. And so, yeah, I mean, that can get frustrating if I'm winning too much. That's why we liked gin rummy for a while, is because it was fairly even. We play Mario Kart together, but I am significantly better at Mario Kart.
Pretty good at Mario Kart, much better than me.
Yeah.
So
we play okay together. We don't learn together well.
No.
I'm not an effective teacher. But I learned that when I was in elementary school, or when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I thought I wanted to be a teacher. And so I went to, they had this program where you could go 2 periods a day. You could take it was like an hour and a half, go help out at an elementary school. And I went there and I did that for a year. And at the end of the year, I was like, I'm not a teacher. This is not what I want to do. I liked helping the smart kids with fun stuff. But when it was a kid who wasn't quite grasping something, I'd be like, what do you mean you don't get 2 + 2 is 4? That's just what it is. That's how it is. 2 + 2 is 4, Timmy. That's all it is. And so I would get frustrated at stuff like that, which, I mean, they're kids. They're not always going to get it. But that wasn't in me to teach something to somebody who needed it explained more than a couple of times.
Well, it sounds like the dynamic is pretty healthy. Do you guys dabble much in co-op games?
No. I also have a problem in co-op games where I know that the thing I want to do is the best way to do it. And so, oh man, we played Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, Legos.
On like the Wii, I think. And I learned that as player 1, you could move and it would drag the screen along with you. And if the other player was at the edge of the screen, it would just drag them along with the screen. And so I'd be like, okay, we're done here, time to go. And Missy would be like, no, we haven't broken every single thing. And I was like, doesn't matter, pull. And that lasted like 2 sessions together. Yeah. And then we started.
I had that experience watching a girlfriend's kid. We were playing some Lego Batman, and there was the camera angles and everything on those games are kind of wonky anyway. And you might isolate the other person somehow. Yeah. So I know what you're talking about. That's funny.
And then we tried playing, what was the game? It wasn't Pandemic. Zombicide, maybe? I think it was Zombicide, where you work as a team to beat the zombies. And we had gotten ourselves into a situation where the obvious correct play for the team was for my sister-in-law to sacrifice herself to the zombies so the rest of us could get away. And I pointed out that was obviously the correct situation for the scenario we were in. Sorry, Michelle, you got to die. And she was like, no. And I was like, what do you mean no? That's clearly the correct play. And so she was just like, no, I'm not doing it. And so I don't think we've played Zombicide again since then. You know?
So the reason that Missy doesn't know euchre is because you don't trust her as a partner. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh.
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't played euchre since high school, so I've not ever made an attempt to teach because I would have to learn first.
So what are maybe a thing or two that you guys are into that are other than gaming? What do you guys like to do when you're not gaming and not working?
I cross stitch. So I love to cross stitch, and I've got quite a few projects that I'm in the middle of. Few done.
Have you not made me anything for my nerd room?
I should make you something for your nerd room. Yeah, I'll have to make you something.
We've got several things around the house, just none in here.
None in here.
We've got a nice, beautiful one in our bathroom that says, please don't do coke in our bathroom. And then there's a few on the walls. I think there's one that says like Nathan and Missy or something. There's a Christmassy one. She made one for one of our friends that has a coffee pot in it, and it says Pothead. And so she's got that up in her little collection of mugs and stuff. So I'm pretty impressed. And you tell them about your Etsy?
Oh, yeah, I have an Etsy shop too. A few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, Nathan bought me a sewing machine for Christmas, which was an awesome gift. I have gotten so much use out of this sewing machine. And I was like, wanted to sew everything. But I was like, how many things can I make for myself? So I just kind of found some things online that would be cool to make. Some lunch bags and insulated. They were waterproof. And so I was like, well, try selling these, I guess, just for fun. So I have a little Etsy shop, and it's got some cross stitch patterns, and that's kind of what I'm mostly down to now is cross stitch patterns. I don't do as much of the sewing, but yeah. So I have my own Etsy shop, and so yeah, I like to sew and cross stitch and make patterns, and yeah.
These bases are getting a little annoying, Nathan.
They are. I just had to check your deck because I'm like, what are both of us doing? We're at like 1,000 life. We're kind of scrapping a little bit. What's this card do? And I'm clicking on cards that I don't recognize. Scrap a card from your discard pile, or okay, all right, that's a good card. I might buy that one.
Well, Missy, I'm happy to put a link when this goes up on YouTube, if you'd like me to your Etsy store. If you do send that to me between now and then.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah.
And Nathan, what do you do outside of gaming?
I play more video games. I am right now just ultra obsessed with this game called Satisfactory. It's been out a couple years. It's still in quote unquote alpha. I hate it when they do that. They never actually release the game. They just have it in alpha or beta for 10 years. Basically, it's just you're a tiny little corporate plebe, and your giant corporate mining company drops you on a planet with like an iron pick, and they're like, hey, build us a factory and send us stuff. And so you just go about on this world. I really don't have 2 bases? What is this nonsense?
You have had a breeding site the entire game. Do you remember a time where you did not have a breeding site?
I think you managed to kill it once, but I think I replayed it real quick. I was like, hey, no, that's not how we play this game. I get all the stuff. So yeah, anyway, you just like build yourself, and it's super satisfying because you just start with like this iron ore, and you build this iron ore into something that processes it into like iron plates and iron nuts, and then from there you build that into something that makes like copper wire, and then you just keep going up and up and up and up and up until you're building like nuclear factories and quantum computers and all this fun stuff. And it's super satisfying. There's always a next thing to do. You can always make whatever you've got better. And so I've sunk so many hours into this thing. Missy is basically a satisfactory widow at this point.
Awesome. So just kind of open world-ish, and you're creating sort of this engine from the beginning, and you're constantly expanding it. Are you interacting with what are some of the things that are troubling you? What are some
Almost
of the perils?
nothing. The entire game is just building this factory better and bigger. There are like alien creatures on the world, but you run into them a little bit at the beginning while you're still expanding and finding stuff. But once you've kind of found the things you need to produce a self-sustaining factory, at that point you don't really explore anymore. And so all you're doing is just building bigger and better at mining and constructing, docking.
Oh, I love docking.
I definitely know. Oh yeah, docking is where I just hold on this card forever because I've got the blob base.
Yeah. That's one of my new favorites things in the game. I really like the.
They have been very well received.
Yeah.
Docking's got a funny alternate meaning too.
Don't
Google that one at home.
Urban Dictionary, is that where you go, or
turn on safe search?
So I did have the pleasure of meeting you guys first at a convention. Obviously, last year was a huge wash, and I just can't deal any damage to you. This is starting to get annoying.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you're 71. Like I'm not doing that much better than you're doing. Although I will drop. Oh no, I don't even have 2 bases. I don't have any way to do cards either.
Had you hoped last year to get to any conventions? And if so, or even if not, are you hopeful here for 2021? Are you eyeing up any time frames?
Yeah, we were eyeing, was it Origins last year that's in June?
Philadelphia? No,
not Philadelphia.
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus was over. It was in June, and that was like, we should go to Columbus for our 10-year anniversary. And they were like, really?
It was our anniversary.
Really? So that's what you want to do on our 10-year anniversary? And turns out that would have been way cooler than what we did on our 10-year anniversary, which was nothing.
That's true.
We're gonna 11-year anniversary. We'll do a little bit better. But yeah, it was. I think we were planning on making it to that. What's this yellow base do? Discard some cards. Discard. All right, sure, does stuff.
It's kind of a weird. It's good. It's good, but you do kind of have to be significantly in yellow for it to feel good.
Oh, I got plenty of yellow. I think I got a Merc Cruiser in there too. So yeah, because the first time we met was White Wizards game 2016, 17, somewhere in there, and that one was
2016. Yep.
That one was an absolute blast. You still didn't kill my base.
Well, I've gone to now. I'm just not gonna. I can't. Listen, if I devote all this damage to killing that over and over and over, I've already kind of resolved to the fact that I'm not going to get through your base wall most likely this game. So I've started to just move my damage past it and hope that I make it close. We'll kind of see what happens, though. I am getting a little more scrap now.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to eyeball cards to draw me cards. It's always nice when you get into one of these games when you have cards that make you discard cards, because, we're both going to be scrapped down. Almost nothing. I guess I could get, let's do that, and then we'll, that's from the discard pile. Never mind, that's bad. All right, guess we'll just buy that. Should I make you discard a card? Nah, not yet. That one was ultra fun.
That was a great time.
Well, you went to the second one.
Oh, that's right.
You were there in 2017, and that one was extra fun.
Where was the 2016
2016 was the same place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
2017 was awesome, because you came to that, and you came to that intending to basically just go to Boston.
Yeah, I was going to spend the day, going to the art museum and just kind of spending it on my own while Nathan went to the convention. And but really had such a fun time that I think I did play in tournament, and even had a game on camera.
Oh, nice.
That surprised me.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Had one that had some play calling from possibly Dustin Klingman and maybe Darwin. Is that?
Could be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been a long time. Yeah, I can't even remember who I played now, but
Even Bax. I think Bax was doing some play-by-play at that point too.
Yeah. Yep, that could be. So, so that was interesting, but yeah, still got to see Boston a little and got to meet everybody. Just had a great time. So.
Now, Missy, you're also actively a rogue. Is that correct?
I think so.
No, am I?
You remember the rogue?
A Star Realms rogue?
No.
Oh, I thought you were. And if you're just saying that because it's the first rule of Fight Club, I'll understand as well. If you're just not allowed to talk about it, that's okay. But I had this impression that you were. I misunderstood.
No, I wasn't huge in the chatting. Anyways, I do like to follow what other people talk about in forums and things, but I'm not a huge chatter. So I didn't join that one.
I don't even totally know what that is exactly. Was it just a bunch of lower level players that?
It's weird. I'm not the person that can really speak that much for it. That's my understanding was it was support and community for players that weren't quite as high in level, and that's really I've reached out to have someone in the know maybe come on this show and talk a little more about it, but as of yet, I haven't been able to secure that. So no, I had thought Missy was a part. I had heard incorrectly.
Yeah, no, I don't think I ever joined that, or I'm trying to think if I got invited to. I think I might have, but yeah.
Docking.
So I have a feeling you haven't heard much, but Nathan, do we have any sort of indication whether your command deck will be in the command deck release, or is that something that we think is going to be pushed off a little bit? Have you heard anything? Have you pressed them on that at all?
Oh man, how long ago was that where I emailed her and got? I mean, I asked Deb once or twice, and the first time the answer was, we just don't know. The second answer was, I want to say it was 2021, but that's a big long time period, and who knows how everything has changed.
Okay, well.
So no, I don't have any inside information on when my card will finally hit the.
Certainly was an indication that the plan is to put it in the app, just no indication of time on whether it will be with the first wave of commanders or if it will be some sort of subsequent release.
Yeah, they didn't give me any inside information there.
Well, we are working our way down here. I have a very nice hand, and I do not have any starters left in the deck, but this discard, as Nathan predicted, is going to be annoying. And I'm deciding whether, what I'm going to be discarding while Nathan is deciding whether to make any purchases.
I'm deciding if I pop this battleship for 10 health. That's rough.
Oh, sure, Fred. Yeah, I remember when this came out going, when exactly is going to be the time to crack this for the 10? And you're thinking this could possibly be, because I've been knocking you down a little bit each turn. I can certainly see the dilemma.
Well, you know what the best time to crack it for 10 is, right?
When's that?
Right before you do lethal.
Oh, I guess.
That's the correct time to do it. Anytime you have to think about it, you're in a bad situation.
So we do have draw, we do have damage. The question is, do we have enough? I just don't know if we're going to get through what looks to be 4 outposts for 19.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I don't think you have any. You have 1 destroy target base effect.
And not enough green to actually employ it. 26 total damage. And I got to use... Yep, we're going to use it on there. This is really coming down.
Except that you're still at 46. Discard any number of cards and gain... No, I'm with that.
That's true. I did not mention in my very quick analysis of that card that it quite possibly does lose value throughout the game, especially if you are scrapping. Well,
okay, that's all right. This one isn't going to buy me anything. I can scrap card. All right, so I do want to play that. I want to play that.
So I have committed in theory. Origins was announced for either end of September or early October. That is in Columbus. So we're hopeful. If I do go, I will be with one Dusto. So that will be exciting. And if the world is better and we are able to interact in groups and we're able to travel, it will be really great to get together with everybody, and of course you guys, if you happen to make it as well. Is that something you guys might look at this year, you think?
I was not paying attention. What was the date?
It is either, I forget if it's either early October or late September.
We should be able to make that.
That runs into late September. Yeah. So we're planning on,
fingers
crossed, going to Ireland for the Husker game that's in Ireland next year.
Wow.
And then turning that into, because if you're going to go to Europe and take, the time to fly over there, you might as well take extra time to visit Europe. So we're going to take extra time, visit at the very minimum, like England, more of Ireland than just like the couple-day packages they had. And I think that's mid-September?
No, it's end of August.
End of August.
September.
So that's trip number 1. I don't know if we'll come back and feel like immediately 2 weeks later going on another trip. We'll have to see at that.
So yeah, it might depend on when it is, and yes, hopefully if the situation is better, we can get to Europe and maybe get to Columbus. That'd be nice.
That'd be fun.
It would be a lot of fun.
I mean, if I had to pick between the trips, I'm totally kidding. Obviously. Well, no,
It's gonna make up for our 10-year anniversary.
Did I do it? Boop.
There. Wow.
Oh, wow. He's going to hit me for 49.
Did you see when I popped the Federation battleship too?
And you got it too, to get the differential. Very nice.
Not even close.
Huge turn. Huge turn. Well, guys, I think we're probably at about time. I do want to thank you both so much for coming on, and I also just for your contributions here long term with the community. Nathan for being, of course, tournament organizer. But one thing I have probably said a couple times to Missy is just thank you, because I know that that alone brings a lot of things, and probably some times in the past where Nathan was stuck dealing with stuff. Um, so thanks for tolerating what certainly sometimes that we're needing that. Um, any final thoughts you guys have here for our audience at all, or the community?
No, I appreciate that. This has been the lowest drama community I've ever been in my life. Like, I mean, what have we banned? 4 people in 5, 6, whatever. How many years it's been? 6, 7.
About one a year, yeah.
That is unheard of in a Facebook community, especially one with this many members. And they're pretty self-policing. We don't even have to. Most of the time, if somebody posts something and it's like they're being rude, 15 other people come back and tell them, "Hey, don't do that. You're a jerk. Stop it. I hate you." And so, like, they take care of the policing for us, and it really is. I mean, Dustin takes care of in accepting invites and stuff, but we haven't had an actual complaint to an admin in, I think it's been months since a post got reported, much less, somebody was fighting with somebody else. So, thanks to the community for continuing to be awesome. Thanks to Sarah. She's making us some hats coming up. So that's just one of the cool things that's, we have somebody in the community that knits people hats if they want them.
It's such a cool group of people that we've got to meet, and just people that we never would have run into before, and from all over the world. It's really cool. So
yeah, some of those meals at conventions where we just sat around a table for
so
3
fun.
hours while in an Indian restaurant where when they looked at us weird when we walked in and we were maybe a little too loud. But that was just that. Some of the memories are just, I wouldn't trade them for anything.
Well, thanks for creating another one here with me tonight, guys. That's going to wrap it, guys. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us here on Just Scrappin'. Look again for my regular streaming on Wednesday evenings, 10 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Just Scrappin' as well. Thank you, MissyJ and OzMethod.